Welcome everyone back to the watch along. I've got the big legend that is Fazz. We've become a meme after. I became a West Ham fan last week, so we've got a lifelong West Ham fan. How are you doing, Big Fazz?
Yeah, very good, very good. Geez, what a week on Twitter it was. The socials were going off, the piss was being taken, and it was fantastic. So I am up and about still.
And you got a win at cricket. My spies tell me.
Oh yeah, had a big win today, and coming fresh off the work Christmas party Friday night last night, and yeah, so I was a bit dusty. Yeah, but great win, great win. So
And
everything's
obviously,
coming up, Faz.
everything's coming up fast, and I'd imagine you'll probably make up because obviously our team lost in the big game of cricket this week against Australia. So, as an honorary Pom, I'd imagine you're feeling that.
Yeah, Corey, he's been getting into me. I'm assuming he'll jump on. He's been getting into me all week. No, I was super stoked. That Australia, my team Australia, did get up, and England were very disappointing.
Well, he switched allegiances back to the Aussies. Get stuck into him for that, Corey. Hello there, Kira. Kira, Blue Abroad royalty, the K-Dog, the princess of Prince's Park. Good to see you, my love. Kira, she's actually an anomaly because she went to schoolies. She's just finished school. She's now a big girl in the big bad world, and she claims she didn't drink, Faz. So, I mean, that's a lie, isn't it?
It is a lie. It has to be a lie.
It's a lie.
Yeah, that's just like me saying I didn't drink at the Christmas party last night.
Well, I mean, we can check your Facebook. We know that's a lie. So,
yes.
To be fair to you, Faz, you've actually got better than I was because I was really rough. It took me about 70 minutes to get back into Pom.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not going to lie. When the kids wake me up this morning, I'm just like, it's going to be a long day of cricket today. But no, you just got up and about, and just a cheeky beer after the win, and before you know it, you're back.
Hey, you're back. We've got Big McQuaid. So Sam Kerr gave the pitch invader a hip and shoulder. Yeah, she got a yellow card. It's one of them weird things, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They don't like you interfering with the public.
Yeah, and it is the rules, I guess. I mean, first of all, I say what a hip and shoulder it was. Like that was
textbook,
magnificent. Just lined him up, and that absolute moron has to live with that for the rest of his life. Fantastic. I think it's more based around trying to protect the players, saying don't do this because she gets in that situation. He could have had anything on him. He could have had like a knife. I don't know. It could have had anything, a weapon or something. And she's done that. So it's kind of like yellow carding you so you don't, just don't do it. But it was brilliant. It was a brilliant bit of footage that, yeah, I've watched it about 15 times. It was fantastic.
We love it. Kira's just confirming she never claimed she didn't drink. She claimed she lost her voice from singing and not the alcohol. But you were singing because of the alcohol. Is Uncle Pom's point.
Yeah.
Big Eric, couple of bird slayers, Pom and Faz. Oh, mate, we're like a shotgun at duck season, mate.
Mate, like shooting fish in a barrel.
And Ben Lawrence, 2-1 City. He's going. Tell you what are we saying? City Wolves.
They love to score, City. 2-1. I'm going to say Wolves are defending well. I'm going to say 3-1 City. 3-1 City.
I've been doing all right at these guesses on the spur of the moment. I've got a feeling 4-0. I reckon City. Because Wolves are pants. Let's be honest. I'm fans, and because Pep's just coming on the back of somehow he's won Manager of the Month, which I'm not too sure. Evidently that only goes to Man City, Chelsea, or United. It's that rotation. So I think they'll back him in. I think they'll back him in. 'Cause I know that I don't know if anyone's seen Jack Grealish got into a bit of a tussle with the paparazzi.
Yes, yeah, that was
Yeah,
funny.
because the story going around that he's having a little bit of playing away from home, and
Yeah,
he doesn't like his picture taken.
yeah. Well, if you don't do the deed, and I don't know. Yeah, that was funny. I'll tell you,
It is.
it's been a good week. It's just been a great week on socials. You've got the Sam Kerr thing. You've got Chelsea fans melting. You've got Grealish. It's just been a good week. England getting buried. I mean, it's just I don't know. Christmas is
Well,
around
I
the
don't share
corner.
that last bit, but
There's just nothing can bring me down. Nothing. This is a good week.
well, I might bring you down. I was thinking. I just checked this week. It's the day-night series,
Yes.
so we should do. We should do tee up sometimes, and
Yeah.
we'll do maybe the last couple of hours or something.
Yeah. Get a session in and be like, yep.
Bit of
Enjoy
banter.
that. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully the Poms can make it last the weekend.
Yes. Yeah. No, it kicks off Thursday. That'll be good. Be real good.
Any England fans out there, I take 100% responsibility because yesterday, when Root and Marlan were into bat, I did
You
make
did.
the comment as both of them play for Yorkshire, which is the county I resided in. I said that I've been saying for years Yorkshiremen are the equivalent of 10 Australians. And I was saying you guys need 10 more to get them out. And I didn't watch any cricket yesterday. I was in meetings all day after that statement. And I watched it all day today and we clapped. So it is 100% me watching England cause that to lose. If I went into meetings all day today, we would have put on 700.
Well, look, credit where credit's due. They did Root and Milan, they did look real good yesterday. So much so I thought, oh well, England might get a bit of a lead here and Australia, I still thought Australia would win, but yeah, they it was just a collapse of monumental proportions this morning.
It was good banter, I've got to say. We've got big Eric here, Pom bottled it. Mate, honestly, don't get me started on resting Broad and Anderson. But my highlight, we know that Pom loves what you say when you lose. And Joe Root did a great interview saying that if he had his time again, he would have still batted first and gone in with the same team. I rate that. I rate it.
Yeah. It's just like, you know what, just cut your nose off to spite your face a bit, just nah.
And Big Mitch, I saw you were having a few beers with Mitchy boy yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, at the Christmas party.
I was with you when Burns got skittled first ball. I've never seen a man look more depressed in my life. A truly broken man.
First of all, that's a lie because it was recess. The kids were out. I ran across to Mitch's classroom. We had the game on, and mate, we high-fived. We were in jubilation. I don't know what he's talking about. It was ridiculous. So that's a little bit of a porcupine there from young Mitchell. But speaking of in good form, Mitchell 3 votes last night. He was magnificent.
Mitch has got the 3 votes. The first ball of the test, though, that was pretty good, wasn't it? I mean, credit where credit's due. Poms were horrible. Australia were exemplary. And that first ball was a peach, wasn't it?
It set the tone, I think. It just set the tone up and about, and yeah, you can't say any more than that. I think, yeah. I'm not going to go as far as saying that the game was over because of that ball, but it certainly set the tone. That's for sure.
I thought the game was over when Gilly interviewed Joe Root, and you could tell he was trying to get Joe Root not to say bat.
Yeah, yeah.
He was kind of like going, "No, not bad, not bad."
Yeah, that was good.
But I mean, here we are. Our Josh Klebs, great bit of banter here. Shane Warne said it was a half tracker down leg. I thought, you see, Warne hates Stark, doesn't he? He hates him.
Nah, his hatred towards Stark knows no boundaries.
And I hated it because he felt like he was taking the piss out of the Poms when he's calling it a half tracker down leg. And I'm like, ball moved a mile, mate. Like, don't downplay it.
Yeah. Well, look, the reality is Burns's footwork was going nowhere. Like, I don't know what he was doing, but it was a little bit better than a half volleyed down leg. So,
I've got to say, I used to bat 7, and I have a career average probably of about 18. I've got better footwork. I don't know what he was doing. Like that ball started to swing in right, and Burns went left and went and bought a hot dog. Came back and he had no leg stump. Bless him.
Yeah, that foot was nowhere. I don't even know what was happening.
I blame the hair. I blame the hair, to be honest.
Yeah. But it was brilliant. And don't listen to Mitch. I was certainly up and about.
I thought you'd be here sharing your pain. I thought this would be therapy. I was like, welcome to living to Australia and having a funny accent. Stuart's got Man City 2-0 and West Ham winning by 2+ in his multi. Talking about gambling fantasy rubbish, I've got to say, I put Dennis in as a last-minute swap last night for Gabriel Jesus, who scored. And you'll be pleased to know Antonio's in this week as well. So, mate, everything I touch in fantasy he's coming up Millhouse.
He's due, Mickey. He's had a bit of a barren run, but if there's someone you want to get in, I'll be looking at Jared Bowen.
I tried to get him in. I didn't have any free transfers, and I'm playing second in the ladder. I lost to number 1. I'm third last week by a point because freaking of that postponed game.
Yeah.
He had 1 point on the bench, which beat me. Disgrace, I tell you. Mitch says, Fazz said he would put away the first ball for 4, go on to win, Poms the game. Pretty sure he put a tweet out saying Joe Root asking for a game for his...
Look, I did say at the time, geez, I reckon I could have put that ball to the fence, but there was no messaging Joe. Big shout out to Joe Root. I know he's a big fan of the show. So...
Yeah, good day to you, Rooty. Cheers. Honestly, green top, Brisbane, Australia, bowl first. Solid captaincy, that, Rooty. McQuay, we just read that one. If I screw a horse, does that count as losing my virginity? I'd probably count it. I probably wouldn't admit it, though. So it's counterproductive if you count it.
Yeah, look, I mean... we cover all areas on here, and look, it's probably not something I'd openly talk about, but you know what? A goal. What is it? Any hole's a goal, whatever.
There is. Count it, don't talk about it. That'll pay me for not revealing the message before I showed it. There you are. There's Pom. So the teams are out, and Gabriel Jesus is starting. They've gone full strength here, haven't they, see?
Yeah, it's a good-looking team.
Which isn't hard because they've got 40 A-listers, but strong sides from both teams.
Yeah, look, I really like Traore. He's big boy, fast, can cause problems. They got a strong midfield, but look, that City team is just class. It's just class. Bernardo Silva is probably the best player in the world at the moment, or one up there. I'd be surprised if Wolves get anything from this game.
Well, they've gone 3-5-2, which is bold. Sorry, Stuart, Man United. I like that. I reckon United will win that too. I reckon we're not going to concede for the next 6 months. I reckon Ralph makes us like the Trojans.
Don't mind that.
Yeah, I agree though. Gundogan, I reckon he is the best centre mid in the world. I mean, Bernardo, sorry.
Bernardo. Yeah.
On form.
He's just different class at the moment. The goal he scored on the weekend was magnificent. He's in a big purple patch, and you can make arguments for a lot of players, but on form, I think he's next level at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got the 3 best players, I think, in the world at the moment, because we've got Salah as well, who, although he's been quiet last couple of weeks, and still count his year. And as I was attested last week, Mendy, best keeper in the world.
Yes. Yeah. And then how did that go for you?
I've got to say, shout out to my mate Louis, who is a massive Chelsea fan, who heard me say that the morning after he flicked through the live and has 100% attributed me for the Chelsea loss. So if you are watching tonight, I dreadfully apologise for kiboshing the goalkeeper of your side.
Yeah, I'm not sorry about it.
I'll do it again, though. I'll do it again, but it was perfect banter. Just after that, he went full England cricket team middle order.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Well, they've taken the knee. They've said that minute of silence for McNiven, and we're underway. England's a weird place, isn't it? Because the last time Manchester City played at Manchester, it was snowing last week.
Oh, ridiculous.
And now it's like a nice little overcast natural Manchester day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, look, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. It's quite clear the way the Wolves are set up. They're obviously going for the counter attack, block them out, and I think, like I said, I like Traore, but I think he's better suited coming off the bench, chasing, like running at tired midfield defense. That's where he's best suited.
He reminds me of Martial. He has no end product.
Yeah, he's just quick.
like he beats his man, but it's like then he doesn't do anything with it. So it's just like it reminds me a little bit like, do you remember when Central Coast Mariners signed Usain Bolt?
Yes, yeah. It's exactly right. He's in a lot of ways he's a little bit like Mikel Antonio before he started to improve his finishing.
To be fair, he's probably one of the cases of most improved footballer of like the last year, isn't he? Like last couple of years, like he literally has come from nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the first minute is how you would have expected all City.
Well, it's the City way, isn't it? And City have struggled last couple of months against sides that flood the midfield. Is the supporters? Yeah, there is. It's just Spurs. Typical soft Southerners just complaining because a couple of them have got colds and they're like, even though we've got a squad of 70, can we have a week off?
Yeah, that's bizarre. It's funny. I read the stat that Burnley have more was it Burnley? No, Brighton. Sorry, Brighton have more players out injured than what Spurs do have COVID. Yet it got postponed because of that. I mean, it just makes no sense.
You see, I genuinely don't believe. You see, I don't agree with it. Like, I can see the argument for AFL. Me and my mate were talking about this the other day, and I was saying AFL. I could see the argument because I think it's a safety thing in football.
Yeah.
That like a key defender. If you've only you lost all your tall players, I think having a midget in the ruck, it's a safety issue. It's like playing a scrum half at prop in rugby.
Yeah.
But in football, you've got lists of 50, 60 players. So unless you've lost 50 players to COVID, I think it should be, well, we're all under the same thing. Because they've got that fast testing as well.
Yeah, the rapid testing, yeah.
So I was like, surely some of them 12 players are going to blow negative results in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And I think they're going to get themselves in a bit of trouble because they're going to have to catch up these games. And I don't know how or when. I mean, they've got to play one of their Europa Conference games at some point. And when are they going to squeeze these games in? I don't know. But anyway.
Well, it's funny, UEFA have come out with that game that they postponed on Thursday. They're going to judge that by a toss of the coin. Yeah, UEFA have refused permission to reschedule the game. So they're just going to toss the coin in their administration room. Because Spurs are kicking off about it because they need the win to go through.
Well, then don't suck it up then.
I mean, that's what I said. I said, I understand the Premier League. The Premier League, we probably can rearrange. But in my opinion, like they could have played the Europa game, couldn't they, with kids?
Well, everyone else does it.
Because
Like I said,
who were they playing? They weren't playing someone good, were they? They were playing. Weren't they playing like a Spanish eighth side? Like not a great side.
To be fair, it is the Europa Conference, so there's no good teams in it, including them. So,
I mean, even Rangers, we're in the proper Europa, mate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I didn't even realize Europa Conference was a thing. Like, don't look that far.
Did you hear Conte as well?
Yeah.
At the end of Rodgers saying he didn't even know that there was a Europa Conference.
Yeah.
Like he actually in the press conference, and they asked him a question saying, "Is it a hindrance to still be in Europe?" And he's like, "Am I?"
Yeah.
What? And they're like, "Are you in the Europa Conference?" And he's like, "What's that?" Yeah. I love that.
And that's what I mean. Like it's I don't. Yeah, it's bizarre. But anyway, good. I'd say good luck to him, but
you'd be lying.
Yeah.
Well, we've predicted it. Traore, look at the wheels on Traore.
He's a beast.
Have you seen him with his shirt off? I saw him on his Insta a couple of weeks ago, and it is ridiculous. He is solid muscle, that kid.
Chiseled. He doesn't have the a footballer's physique, put it that way.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Wolves, nice little passage of play here.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. That's they're going to play that counter, and when they get a chance, they're going to have to take it.
Well, I know Saint's a big Spurs fan. He's saying he hopes to go into the conference, and he's hoping Gerrard can get a result at Anfield. Imagine that, Stevie G getting a result at Anfield. Do you reckon the cop would still like him?
I don't know. That's going to be a fascinating watch this space. I'll be watching just because of what it is. I've got no affiliation to either Villa or Liverpool, other than the fact that Stevie G was one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. So I'm really intrigued. I'll be watching that one very closely just to see. I hope he does. Hope he does get a result just to see the reaction, or even if Aston Villa score. I don't know. It'd be good.
Be interesting to see what Stevie G does, because he loves the goal celebration, even as a manager. So it'd be interesting to see if he celebrates it at Liverpool
knee slides in front of the cop.
Yeah, I'd love it. I love it. Saying Carlton 2021 is Richmond 2016, which means we'll win the flag in 2022.
Well, you can't argue with logic.
If Cancelo wasn't Italian, he would not be rated highly. Isn't Cancelo Portuguese? Well, Cancelo.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe he's not rated.
I know you don't rate him, DQ. I'm a big fan of Cancelo.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, look, each to their own. I really like him. Yeah, I'm not too sure that he's Italian, but yeah, he's a bloody good player. But I do understand the logic. I've always said, there's certain players out there that I'll use Jared Bowen, for example. If his name was Jared Borinho or something, he'd be rated so much more higher than what he is. England players tend to not be rated highly for whatever reason. So I understand the logic about, if he wasn't an international, maybe. But no, I disagree a little bit because I really like him.
I'd say as well that probably Cancelo gets a lot more respect for being a City player as well. Because like you say, Bowen probably doesn't get the love because he plays for an unglamorous club.
Yeah, correct.
Like I'd imagine if Bowen at the moment was bossing the midfield for Chelsea, everyone would be like, "Oh wow, Jared Bowen, England team. Why is he not in there?"
Yeah.
What a superstar. As Bernard Silva. Tell you what, I've just checked. Cancelo is Portuguese. We aren't losing it.
Phew.
Both teams went to the camp off season. We love a camp off season.
Yeah.
Where are they? They're in some mountain somewhere, aren't they?
Yeah, Carlton love a off season camp almost as much as they love a booze cruise. So
They should go to Ibiza.
yeah, nothing says prepare me for the new season like a trip to Ibiza.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Stuart will always love Stevie. We never lost Oliver for Dalglish when he was Blackburn manager. True, you didn't. I remember when Blackburn won the league. That is going way back. That when they won the Premier League.
That's a yeah.
Shearer and Sutton.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast not too long ago with Robbie Slater talking about that Blackburn team. So
good team.
Yeah.
It was a good team. Yeah, I do remember. I remember Chris Sutton. Can't stand that bloke, but he was a pretty good player. Tell you what, Ari, big shout out to Ari. Does a lot of articles. You'll see him. He's also just started up with Carlton Rap, Nathan Seppi. They did a podcast this week, which was really good on the fixtures. If Bowen was from Brazil, we would be 10 times the price. If Harry Maguire was French, he would have been long gone from that. I tell you what, if Harry Maguire was French, he'd probably be playing for Paris at City, who were like in Division 3.
Yeah, it's a right call. If you look at some of these players who, they're rated based on their nationality, which is quite bizarre, but anyway, that's football.
It is one of them weird things, though, especially with the new Brexit rulings, that English players are really highly regarded as well, because you kind of have to have them in the team. Like, if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll be really upset that you have to have English people in your team. They've probably got a bit upset because their identity obviously is our French cousins over there. But it is a weird thing, isn't it? Like, because actually, I've got to tell you this, one of my good mates sent me a video of Raphael van der Vaart, and he's talking about Harry Maguire. Yeah. And he's going off in Dutch, but you hear in English, he's like, Harry Maguire, super shit. Made me laugh. It made my week.
I like that. Oh, dear.
Good question. This is a great question for a West Ham fan, because we know Fazz loves sticking the knife into Chelsea. All opportunities. Chelsea, do you think their depth is overrated?
I've been a big believer in that. Any team's depth is only as good as how often they have to use it. Meaning, the more people they have to use from their depth, the weaker it can actually look. It's okay to pick one or two players and put in there, and that can go through rather seamlessly. But if you're having to make 5 or 6 changes, then it can show some cracks. So oddly enough, I don't think their depth is overrated. I think their depth is quite decent. I don't think it's the best. I think it's quite okay. But I just think the manner in which the players have got injuries, Lukaku was out, Chilwell, Kante, there's some big players who they've got to replace.
Mate, I'm with you. I also think that Kovacic, him being out, who in my opinion for like 6 weeks was their best player. Kante's come in and done that role quite well. And we know Kante, the quality of him. But there's a lot of players as well there that, are in and out of that side fast. Ziyech, Havertz, Mason Mount has been in and out of the side due to injuries. They've got Sol there in the centre of midfield, Loftus-Cheek. And then you've got, that's before you get to Barkley. And I think Barkley on his day could probably play for a top 6 side. So I think they've got depth in the right places, because, like you say as well, Lukaku, that's a huge loss. If United lost Ronaldo, they'd be foobard. But Chelsea have really done well without Lukaku.
Yeah, and I think that. Like I said, it's to use the Richmond analogy. The old one player in, one player out, one player in. You don't notice it, but when it's 6 or 7 players out, 6 or 7 players in, there's no coincidence that they did get hit by injury, so they struggled. And I think Chelsea's in a similar boat. They're going to be good enough, obviously. Chelsea, they're still one of my favourites to win it. But yeah, injuries are a killer, and I think this season is so tight with Chelsea, Liverpool, City. I think it falls away pretty dramatically after those three, considering West Ham are fourth. But those three, I mean, it could literally be injuries that decide the title.
Oh, mate, definitely. We were just talking about it off camera. It is the injury time of the year, is it not? This time. This is where players go down really quickly. Stuart, Stevie, Pom, it's like your wife. She's a St Kilda supporter, but you don't love her any less. Well, I mean, you should ask me when St Kilda beat us mid-year. The answer would change from off-season, Pom, I've got to say. Man City's depth, DQ says, is a lot better quality per player. I'd agree with that. I would say that if you were buying City's second squad, it's probably more valuable than the Chelsea's. But I'll counter that and say I think Chelsea's players are better systematical players. Like, I think Sol could play 3 different roles for Chelsea due to injury, where I think City, because of their budget, have 1 player per position in reserve.
Yeah, and I think, as I said before, I don't think Chelsea's is the best depth, because clearly Manchester City's depth is, I mean, their second 11 would probably still nearly win the league. So yeah, you can't compare. But I do agree with what you're saying. The sheer just quality of the player from Man City versus the systematic players. It's a good comparison. I like it.
It's a good question, buddy. I mean, just looking at City's bench at the moment is banter. Like Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ake, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Foden, Cole Palmer, and Mahrez. You'd make a great argument that any one of them players named would probably play in the top 11 for anyone in the top 4.
You could. Those players, you talk about De Bruyne, especially, like, there's not one team who wouldn't take him, or Stones, or Walker, Foden. Oh my God.
I'd swap Maguire for Stones if they're interested.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? We'll do that deal here now. I'll take Woodward's job. City, if you're watching, we'll give you Maguire. We'll throw in Bailly as well. Throw in Ake and Stones and get this deal done.
I like Ake too.
I do as well, yeah. Big Bournemouth boy. DQ, he's a Liverpool fan. Liverpool, he doesn't think Chelsea's depth is miles better than Liverpool. I think Liverpool have got tremendous depth. Yeah. What I like about Liverpool is I think they've got a lot of homegrown talent on their bench, which I really like to see. But that's because I'm old.
Well, what I like about Liverpool is they tend to be, you watch it, whether it's a cup game or a Champions League or whatever, and you're watching it and you see a player, I'm like, who's this? I've never heard of this person before. And you look them up and, like, they've been at Liverpool for like 6 years, and they're just a part of the Liverpool system, and they just find players. I think they're brilliant. One of the best off-field clubs you'll ever see. And when, if a player goes down and something's not going right, they'll find a player. That's just what they do. They just find them. I love it.
Oh, they do tremendous. I mean, we're 20 minutes in Man City versus Wolves, and Wolves have done really well, haven't they, at holding them as a stalemate. They've dropped deep. As I've said that, Jesus has made a meal of that, but they have held them pretty firm, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm liking the way they're playing. It's quite clear that they know that they're the underdogs here, but I do like the way they're playing. I'm
with you. Saint said you would swap slab head for a slab of beer, mate. Tell you, if it's cold, maybe half a slab.
Well, I'm not feeling like beers at the moment, but yeah.
Big Stuart, he's a Liverpool fan. The academy players have been a great asset. I'm really big fan of Liverpool as well, like Jones. I think Curtis Jones is a phenomenal footballer.
Yeah. And I think maybe with the Brexit stuff, maybe we're going to start seeing more of these academy players playing. I mean, I'm sorry to turn it, but using West Ham as the example, and I only do it because I know them well. I've never seen more youth players play for West Ham than I have this season. I know we're in the Europa and all that stuff, but you're seeing them come through. I think Liverpool are the same. Why go out and buy a backup right back if you got one in your under 23s? Do you know, like, what's the point of having a youth squad or an academy of football, or whatever it is, if you're going to just buy a player whenever you need it?
Looking at the work permit, it's so hard as well. Like the English work permit, they've really tightened it up, and a lot of it comes down to the international base. So if you look at a lot of the clubs that sign players, particularly the mid-table sides, they're signing like a French guy that hasn't played international football. That won't happen. So Basuma would be a good example at Brighton. He would not be eligible for a work permit when he signed under the new legislation. So you're probably going to see a lot of your mid-table sides live in their academies, which is going to open up opportunities for other English players.
Yeah, I think that side of it will be brilliant. And I've always been a big believer. I hate when teams spend big money on players to be backups or depth. It just, to me, it's like, you've got the youth players there. They should be a backup. If you get a knock or an injury, don't be paying some bloke $100,000 a week to sit on the bench just in case you get an injury. Pay your youth players $2,500 a week to sit on the bench just in case you get an injury.
No, mate, I'm with you. I mean, you look at Ben Johnson as well.
Yes.
Kind of, he's keeping out an international footballer at right back.
Yeah.
And it just makes you think he got opportunities due to injuries, kept the opportunity. How many academy players are loitering around United, City that
everywhere.
maybe could have filled a job?
Yeah. And you sit there and you say, okay, well, you've got Ben Johnson. You say, well, West Ham don't need to ever look at signing a right back for a little while because you've got the two. And I think that's what they need to do more of, all the clubs. And you could make a very strong argument that some of the academy players at the likes of United and Liverpool and City, Chelsea, all 10,000 of them at Chelsea, they probably be better than some of the players running around for the mid-table, lower-table clubs.
Mate, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
look at Gallagher. Look at Gallagher for Crystal Palace. He's taking the absolute piss, and he's a youth player at Chelsea.
Mate, I'm with you. I mean, you look at, I was reading today as well, Roma are after Max Aarons at Norwich. And I'm thinking that's a shame if he goes, because I'd rather see a Premier League side take an English player and keep him in the Premier League.
It's a bizarre thing, and maybe it's a bit hypocritical, I don't know, but I've always had a big issue with English players playing anywhere other than the Premier League. I know that sounds really weird because obviously the Premier League has a lot of internationals, but I just think, why would you play for Roma if you could stay in England? I don't know, like Tammy Abraham, even Kieran Trippier. Like, why? Why are you going overseas when you could stay in I don't know. Might be a bit hypocritical, but I just find that bizarre.
I mean, for the national team, I'd imagine they'd argue that it benefits them in the terms of they get a bit more broad, the horizons.
Yeah,
the scope is. And English players don't tend to leave the shores.
No.
You look at the Premier League, we've got loads of French players, loads of Brazilians, loads of Spanish. You look at their leagues, though, there isn't many English players. You know what I mean? Knocking around elsewhere.
Well, it's the best league in the world, so, No,
I agree with you. But, I mean, it's... You see in Germany, I think they've got the right model. Taking young England players. And I'm surprised big clubs like United, Chelsea haven't copied that model. And seeing Jude Bellingham, look at him. Look at Jadon Sancho. Man City wouldn't give him opportunities, but he became one of the best right backs in the world last year. It does show you some of these players just need an opportunity. That's not the Carabao Cup.
Yeah. No, spot on. So,
did Sterling just use his hand to control the ball then?
It looked like it, but maybe not. Yeah.
Hey there, Kev. Good day to you. Trent, Curtis Jones, Kelleher, Williams, all squad players. Liverpool, tell you what, they've got the right model. That's one thing that United, it absolutely annoys me. That we've been known for our academy for 20 years. And I feel like under the last 10 years, they've forgotten that. Like when I look at Brandon Williams, and I rate him, and he's doing a decent job at Norwich. We've gone out and bought multiple left backs and multiple right backs, and he plays all across the front back four. But he's playing Premier League football now, and I'm thinking, would it have hurt to have him there?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the point I was making earlier. I'm like, why go out and spend all this money when you've got a perfectly good one sitting right there? Because if they're good enough to play in the Premier League, even if it's a mid to lower team, then they're good enough to fill in a few games for United.
Mate, I'm with you. And I'll tell you what, the way Shaw's played, I'd rather have Williams. I'll tell you what, City have been threatening, but Wolves don't look overawed on the counter, do they?
No. 25 gone or however. Dare I say, this has got 0-0 written all over it.
It's a classic City game, isn't it? 92% of the possession.
Yeah.
And really, they're like an anaconda, aren't they, City, when they play? They just squeeze the life out of you.
Yeah. And eventually the damn wall breaks, you know. Whether they play for 90 minutes or 90 hours, eventually it'll break.
It is a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes, it is. Because, and I know it from when we played them a few weeks ago, you're like, it's almost like that teasing you. You know you're not in the game, but you're in the game, if that makes sense. Like you're watching it and thinking, there'd be Wolves fans at the moment saying, we're not in this game, they're battering us, but we're in the game. Like, so it's that little tease. It's like, but you know deep down that it's not going to end well.
It has been the end of them, though, hasn't it? We have seen it this year a few times that if teams do get, and Wolves have had 2 opportunities, you do take them early opportunities. City do kind of get a little bit tetchy, don't they? They don't like chasing a game.
No, because they like to play that high possession football, which doesn't actually lend itself to chasing a game. You know, if when you're behind, you need to move faster, not knock the ball around. So yeah, just it makes sense.
Mate, you're spot on. TAA is the future England captain. I'm a big fan of Trent Alexander-Arnold. You're shaking your head. Are you not a fan?
I love him. He's but Declan Rice is the next England captain.
So yeah, you've come to the wrong place, McQuarrie, mate.
No. Look, and it's nothing against TAA. He's a super player. He's actually one of the best players going around. But Declan Rice will be the captain.
Look at him. He's confident. When he signs for United, we'll see if he's still confident.
I never liked him.
You'll be like, where's Stuart? Get Trent. Get him back. Trent, come in. Well, I mean, they survived that bit of onslaught, yes, and you can see the plan from Wolves, can't you? They are trying to punt it long to Traore, get Jimenez in the game a little bit.
And yeah, one of the things I like most when watching football is when you're seeing a team's plans being played out well. You know, they've come with a clear game plan and they're producing it. And I think that's one of the small victories. It was a big hit, that. Jeez.
Tell you what, there's nothing better as a centre forward than to see the 2 centre backs headbutt each other. It's always a good sight in football if you're a forward. Tell you, when you just pull out of the contest and 2 big centre backs headbutt each other, and you're like, done my job today.
I've been there. Don't you worry about that.
You know, interesting fact about Wolves, and I've just noticed this. Have you noticed that Wolves coaches seem to look the same?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like the chairman's like, we want a Portuguese coach, but
Yeah.
we also want him to look a bit like the last guy.
Yeah. Yeah. If he grew a beard, he'd look exactly like him. Yeah. I've never noticed that, but then he was just on the screen. Then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like they've gone on Create a Manager and they've just
Yeah.
moved the eyes to the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. That's another thing. One of my favorite scenes in football, as we've obviously got an injury break, but players doing warm ups in their full dressing gowns. Like he was
Yeah,
wearing,
weird, isn't it?
wearing a snowsuit. He's warming up. All right, mate. Yeah.
I mean, it will be cold. Let's have a
Oh.
temperature check in Manchester at the moment. Let's see.
Oh, well, it'd definitely be fresh, but
I reckon it's going to be about 5.
Mm.
Oh, 7 degrees at the moment.
That's a balmy 7 degrees. I generally judge the weather based on Adama Traore's nipples, as how far they're poking out.
Well, good point. Good. The nipples are.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always tell as well. I think you can tell by how happy the stewards look.
Yeah. There's always a few indicators.
Because that's the worst job in the world when it's cold, I reckon.
Yeah. When you got your back to the game. I mean, what a shit job that is.
I'd imagine you'd have a sore neck when you're doing that the entire game.
Oh dear.
Tell you what though, he took a knot, didn't he? Oh, look at that old lady there. She's struggling to get into a chocolate bar. Raffin Tune. Hey, Pom, I'm trying to get into the Premier League. Decided to go for Chelsea because their nickname links with Carlton. See what you did there? Clever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm confused by the different leagues. Have you any tips to get into it? I'd just say watch it. So, unlike the Premier League in England, we've got, 1, 2, 3 main divisions. Then we've got the Conference, which is the beginning of the non-league. Conference North, South. Don't worry about them. But your Premier League's your main one. And then you've obviously got Europe. So we play all the other leagues in the world, but I'd say just watch it. It's quite an easy. I think it's obviously I was born into football, so I think the rules are fairly simple. The more you watch it,
Yeah, and I think as we've said before, that there's no other sport can give you the raw emotion and euphoric experience like football. I don't care what anyone says, other than maybe kicking a goal in the AFL to win a game. I don't know, but that happens every so often, where when your team scores a goal in football, soccer, the emotions is just, it's amazing. You can't describe it. So when you pick a team, it might take a little while for you to fall in love, but once you do fall in love with that team and you hurt when things don't go right, tell you what, when the goal goes in, there's nothing better.
As proved last week in the live, where even I got infatuated with the Hammers. I mean, my best advice to you, Raffin Tune, as well, mate, is when you watch the games as well, don't be scared to ask the question.
Yeah, for sure.
I find football fans, even when I was in the UK, especially when it's someone who's not English and they ask the question, we do love explaining our game. And I think the biggest thing football has over AFL is the hurt only lasts 2 days. Because you have another game. Like we usually play on average, it's like 1 in 5 days, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you can't
this time of year.
Too long.
This time of year, I think 3 games in 9 days for some teams. So
it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah,
so good.
It's so good. It is. It's so good. And equally, the euphoric emotion of beating your rival, you got to move on very quickly. But it's the best sport in the world. And once you fall in love with the team, you'll never look back.
It's good fun as well, because if you go on a bad run as well, you can be like, you think you're sad when you lose once every 10 days.
Yeah.
Try losing 4 times in 10.
Yeah.
There's nothing better when you got a bad run.
Yes, yeah, but I think the as well the other thing that that football has over AFL is the consequences. There is no consequence at all for your AFL team being rubbish. None. In fact, you get rewarded for it with draft picks, where in football, there's a very real possibility. There's a real possibility if you get relegated, you could never be seen again. Hello, Sunderland. Hello, Wigan.
No, mate, I think it's a great point. Yeah. That's something I've never thought of. Like,
I think about it all the time, because obviously I'm very used to Carlton losing. I understand that, and it hurts. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's like, well, he's just got to roll on. It'll be the same next year. He's rolling. But with football, mate, the consequences for losing are so dramatic, especially when you go for a team who has been relegated before, who understands what it's like to be in those divisions that nobody knows or nobody cares about. It's scary, and that's why the hurt. That's why the emotion is so high when you get that goal. It keeps you up or whatever it is. It's yeah.
I've got to say, the wonderful thing is Sterling's through on goal. God knows what's happened there to left back. But one thing you notice as well, the amazing thing about football is how good is a relegation game.
Oh, look, I hated it when obviously West Ham were involved in those types of games, but they're brilliant. Some of my favourite memories were winning a relegation game, just getting that, just knowing you wake up the next morning, oh, we're 4 points clear from the drop now, or we're 5 points clear. Oh, we really need this result. And you start tuning into other teams. Okay, so Norwich is playing Burnley. We need a draw here or something like that. Like you really get into that.
I do love a relegation scrap. I mean, I actually think the best games, my favourite games to watch every year are the playoff finals.
Yes, yeah.
Because where they get one game for a chance to play in the Premier League.
Yes, 2012, 2012. That was really 2012. West Ham won the playoff final, and mate, that Ricardo Vaz goal, I reckon I've watched 1,000 times a year. Like, it's just, you just don't. And people who don't know or haven't experienced it, it's hard to explain. It's like when non-football fans say, how can you be excited about a 0-0 draw? And I'm sorry, when you have a 0-0 draw against a Chelsea or a Manchester City or whatever, when you're in a relegation, dogfight, and you get those 0-0 draws, I mean, that's the difference between surviving and getting relegated. And
a good point, as we call it.
Yeah, good point. And it is literally, I cannot stress it enough, the consequences for going down. There's no reward. There's no draft picks. There's no, oh, hey, we'll pick you up. We'll give you some money. No, you're left to your own devices. And I think that's one of the brilliant things.
Mate, it's some of the best, moments. It's the thing, and we're talking rubbish because we didn't really see what's happened. It's not really obvious what happened to him.
I don't know what happened. He's gone down like he's been shot, and I don't even know if Sterling got him. I'm guessing he did, but he went down like he was shot.
It's one of them wonderful things, isn't it? That no one actually knows what is going on, but it looked like Sterling maybe caught him with his hand.
Yeah, like maybe a finger in the eye or something like that. That does hurt, getting a finger in the eye.
It does, yeah. But he did go down there like he'd actually been murdered.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So it's 5 minutes. I mean, but back to that point, honestly, that's probably the big thing, Raffin Tune, that's different. AFL is like great Bill Shankly quote here from McQuaid. Football isn't a matter of life and death. It's much more serious than that. You really get, like you say, your team being relegated. Rangers got relegated 3 divisions, and it was the worst feeling ever. Overnight punishments due to dodgy dealings with our finance, and it's literally what's weird is you can't watch games anymore because you're not in the big time. So you're hoping you maybe get one game every 2. And this was before the days of like your online memberships. So it's a crazy thing, isn't it? Like the ramifications are huge for a fan.
I still remember 2010, 2011 season when we got relegated. The last game was against Wigan, oddly enough, and relegated. And I just remember I was just sitting there, just not knowing what am I going to do with my life. Like I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. This is the worst possible thing that could have ever happened. It was horrible, and all your mates who go for the Liverpools and all that, you know, it's they don't get it. You know, I go to soccer training wearing championship West Ham shirts, and everyone's like, "Oh, how's West Ham going? Who are they playing again? What, Portsmouth?" Like, it's just I'd actually literally give my computer bloody HIV trying to download, you know, the games, watch it on some bloody bootleg website in Russian just to watch West Ham versus Derby County. Like,
mate, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, and we're probably lucky now because like a good mate of mine supports Coventry in the UK, so we catch up on Discord, and like Coventry get a lot of games, and it's changed. There's a lot more games in the Championship and League One, but like going back 10 years ago, they'd pick one fixture in each league other than the Premier League.
Yeah, and luckily, I remember when West Ham were in the Championship, we did get a lot of games because we were one of the bigger teams down there. So on Foxtel, they'd always show one Championship game a week. But you know, I'm seeing a lot more now. I always see it on KO and stuff. There's always Championship games. I reckon West Brom's been on there a few times, but it's still not the same. It's not enough. And yeah, unless you try and follow it, like I said, the consequence of going down, it's frightening.
Yeah, spot on. And like Kev here, isn't it? The fact that teams can't be contented every year, and sometimes you have to rebuild and start again. That's the aim of AFL, isn't it? Like I do like that avenue that AFL has, and I think it's a fairer competition. But I'd also make an argument that it's very similar to football in the terms of the top teams stay top for a period, and then the other teams catch up. Like, I don't think the draft is a lottery nowadays as it is. And when you look at the research that clubs do, so Geelong are a great case in point. They don't have a lot of early picks because they're successful or trade them away, but they have a high hit rate of later picks because the data is there. And that's the big thing I've noticed in Australia doing stats for football shows. People are really against stats, but you look at World Sport now, stats are the answer. Like, stats overrule people now. Like, it's gone are the days you've got an old guy with a cigar in a park. Like, now these people need to validate it by numbers because numbers prove a thing. So I think I agree with the point, but I think football's got the similar. You see, look at West Ham. How are West Ham top 4?
Luck. But yeah, and you're right. Like, obviously there is, in all sports, there's a case of you build a team. You know, United are now doing it, you know, trying to build that team. And when you get promoted, you know, it takes a couple of years to build that team. But what I will say is with the AFL is, and I can say this because I go for one of these clubs, but clubs use it as an out, as we're rebuilding because there's no punishment. There's no punishment whether you win 0 games other than getting bantered on Twitter. So the fact that the AFL, the system's allowing it, like you can rebuild Carlton for 20 years and there's no consequence for it. I'd love to see the AFL. I'd love to see what happened if the AFL bought in and said, hey, we're going to do 2 divisions in AFL. You will get relegated. I doubt you'd be seeing too many of these, hey, we're rebuilding. I don't think North Melbourne would have traded away all their senior players to get draft picks in if relegation was around.
Mate, so I'm with you. I mean, I'd love to see a cub competition. And for Raffin Tune, he's asked, who do we support? Well, Big Fazz He's a huge Chelsea fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, a huge fan of them losing, but that's there we go. Jump
He's
on
your big
board.
rival. It's Collingwood Essendon type rivalry, them two.
Yes, yes, it is.
And I'm a United fan for my sins. We all hate each other for different reasons.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing. It brings us all together, and as long as we're respectful, that's all that matters. And even if we're not.
That's the best thing. But
Yeah,
I've got to say, Rambo banter is a lot
oh,
more dark than AFL banter,
but I
and
find,
people's tolerance is a lot higher as well.
yeah, I get in some absolute classics on socials, but as soon as with AFL, man, AFL supporters are so precious. I don't know what it is like this. I mean, this whole thing, like Carlton got the easiest draw or whatever it is, some rubbish that they thrown a number to. And man, oh man, you may as well think they were saying Carlton supporters have easy mothers or something like that, because it was like it was on for young and old. And I'm like, what is going on?
It is funny. Admin in a round ball group and admin in Blue Abroad. I'd never ever. I think maybe twice in 10 years of admin in a round ball game, as I've had someone PM me to complain about a comment on one of their posts in the round ball game. I'll get 2 a day in AFL, like legit, and it's always the same thing. Some guy has a smart comment, being a bit cheeky, and then the other guy's fired back. And I have a rule: if you fire a shot, it doesn't matter what's said to you. You've opened the floodgates. In my opinion, if you fire a shot, you are accepting whatever may come back at you.
Yeah.
And as soon as you've done that, your ability to complain thereafter, if you
he's been sent off.
He's gone.
He's been sent off.
It's weird. He's gone.
Yeah. He's just got 2 yellow cards in the space of 20 seconds.
Well, I mean, you can officially say that's game over.
Yeah, I agree. But as I was saying, you're right. Like, I when I post my little grenades, throw a little. So we got the yellow card for that, and then
that is probably a yellow card, though. To be fair, Raul Jimenez, there was no need of that kick.
Then he stood in front of the ball like this.
It's been stiff, but he should have got his yardage, to be fair.
You don't have to be dead to be stiff, but man, oh man, he should have got back. But yes, as I was saying, so when I throw a little grenade in on Twitter or whatever, I welcome the banter. But I was just a question. So those 2 complaints a day, how many are about me?
No, I don't think I've ever had one about you, actually. I think maybe 1 or 2. No, genuinely, one of the things, and this is a real Aussie phrase, right, is inferring someone stupid, right? And Aussies use this phrase a lot. You're clueless, right?
Yeah.
Now, to me, if you fire back, you're clueless, right? You've got no substance to your argument. Like, prove I'm clueless with facts, right? Yeah. That offends people. Like, I've had complaints about me. I'm not guilty, because often I'll reply and say, if you don't want any fact, if you're not going to add any facts and you're just going to use your feelings, there's no point having this conversation. I'm more of a fact guy than feelings. and that offends people. And then when they say to me, oh, well, if you're going to be offensive, and I'm always like, there's no scientific condition being offended. That's in your mind.
Yeah.
Right. People don't like it.
No, that's like, I just, when you know that you've won whatever conversation or whatever you've had, when they reply is, no worries, champ, or you're clueless, or
how many games of AFL you played?
Yeah, that's my favorite one. How many games of AFL have you played? Well,
like, I always like dropping. I've made my own version of that. for Australian culture. And I say, how do you spell your surname, mate? Didn't see you in the record.
But I love it. And you know what? There's some really good people on there who don't take themselves too seriously. I like to think I'm one of them. But my favorite part is when people reply to me and start, you're this, you're that, and I just say, dude, go and check my account. Like, go back and check my post tweets if you think I'm genuinely serious about this stuff. Like, yeah.
People, honestly, Fazz's Twitter is one of my favorite places to go and check what he's been doing, because he literally posts 90% of his stuff is bait. As Bernardo has freed himself up and then unfreed himself up, and we've got a lot of stoppage time here, haven't we? 7 minutes.
Yeah, because there was the injury, there was a red card, there was, but no, and like my favorite go-to one at the moment is anytime North Melbourne or the Bulldogs or St Kilda post something, my go-to one is, I'm sure all 6 supporters will be happy about that, and it gets them every time. I get sent screenshots of membership numbers, I get screenshots of crowd numbers. I'm like,
it's why my banter's really refined as well, because the Carlton one is they fight back, and I cringe when I see a Carlton fan comment this, saying 16 flags, most successful team in the AFL, and I'm like, oh my God, the last one was 95. Do you know what I mean? Like Diana was knocking around at that time. Like that's how long ago it was.
Yeah, the Roman Empire was the most successful empire once, Do you know
what I mean? And then they'll reply with the native, oh, that was like over 20 years ago. You haven't been relevant for 2 decades. And Carlton fans get offended by it. And I'm like, don't bring it up. Like, it's nothing to be proud of. It's 1995. Like I bring up the war to a German as pure banter. Don't care anymore. Like, I am over the war, but it's purely for the bait.
It's fascinating. That's the one thing that gets me. And oh man, I guess it's because we obviously support Carlton, so we see a lot more of it. But Jesus, there's some cringeworthy conversations, and especially this one about having the easiest fixture, which I got involved in. I think I had a go at Mitch Cleary or something. That was a good one. But oh man, it just the 16 flags one is the one. That's the.
I hate that. Like, I actually cringe because as a United fan, do you know what I mean? Like, if you mention the last Premier League title, like, do you know what I mean? Like, the instant reply will be abuse. Do you know what I mean? From people, because it's like they'll be like, "When was the last time you won the Premier League?"
But I've been known to post something and then someone reply, and my reply will be, look, I know how this conversation is going to go. I'll say this, then you'll say that, then I'll say this and you say that. So just cut out the middleman and you can call me an F-wit. Done.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, that's how quick the spot, that'll be a big thing for Raffin Tune. Like, literally what you did last year is effectively irrelevant from game week 1 of the new season. So, like, for United fans, they last won the league as halftime goes, it's 0-0, but Wolves are a man down. Like 2012, United won the Premier League. So that's nearly a decade. Jesus, that's insane. It's 10 years. But like, United can't use that anymore because no one cares. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I think that's the player turnover as well. So it's year to year. You've got a host of different players too, so it becomes quite irrelevant.
You see, Raffin Tunes nailed it here. This is a man who speaks like me. I'd trade all 16 flags. Give me 2 or 3 flags from the year 2000.
Correct.
Because you see, I said it on Blue Abroad. I've copped a lot of heat for this, because when we talked about losing game 1, I was like, if you look at it though, of teams that deserved the first game to open the season, Carlton's quality of games in the last 10 years, if I was a neutral, I wouldn't watch them.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've been as successful as Gold Coast.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I say it all the time. You know, I mean, you've got to put yourself in the other person's situation. So, for example, I could give two squirts of piss about Melbourne winning the flag. It's done. I don't care anymore. Don't talk to me about it. Equally, they don't care that Carlton won 16 flags when TV wasn't invented. So I think it's just I that was a great point. You know, I'd give up all those 16 flags to just make finals almost, because you know what's the point? What's the point of holding on to these to say we've been the best at all these cups? No, just do something now. Like, that's all.
Like, honestly, it used to be Liverpool when they used to go on about the FA Cup before United caught them up. And it was the most embarrassing thing to hear a Scouser in a pub go, yeah, how many FA Cups has Fergie won? And you're like, yeah, but when was the last time Shankly won you one of them FA Cups? Like, 50 years ago. You know what I mean?
But and I think it's probably a culture thing. I don't know, but I just find it to be just pathetic, really. Like, I mean, let's worry about now. You know, forget about what's happened. Obviously, celebrate your past, own your past, whatever. But they've got to start doing something now, because
mate, you've got to. I'm with you. Like for me, it's the same with all sports. You're only as good as your last game, and like
Correct.
for me, I'm strict on all my teams. I expect perfection, and it's about honouring your past. Right, and you honour it and you acknowledge it, but you don't live there. Because I want to know when the next title's coming to United. I don't care about Fergie anymore.
Yeah, and this is when they say that, Carlton's got the easiest fixture. Like, so that's assuming that nothing's going to be different next year. If that's the case, then give Melbourne the flag again, because is that how we do it now? Is that how it works? You know, that where everyone finished is how they'll finish next year. It just makes no sense.
You see, though, like, I will counter that if I looked at that draw, like, honestly, I was nursing a semi when I saw the draw, and I was like, as if we're playing easier teams twice than North. And I looked at Freo, because I always look at it as a sports fan if I was the opposition. So if I was Freo, my argument would be this. We played finals more recently than Carlton. However, it is obvious our list is being disintegrated and being made new. New coach. Why have we got a tougher run than Carlton? Would be my argument. And I'd say you've got a point. And this brings me on to my major point. The AFL creating a fixture list that is made up. Like, they just make it up because they play an odd number of games. You're telling me professional sportsmen can't play 18 games this season, so it's just one game each. Or you tell me they can't space these games out in 9 months and play 36.
It's
really can't be not.
No, it's again, it's a culture thing, and I just think we get it, I guess, because we follow world football and stuff, and it's just I find look, I love the it's not about bashing the AFL or Carlton, but
it is.
I love
honestly the fixtures are a disgrace. But like the fact no one understands how it's done, and even the AFL don't, makes no sense.
But I find the AFL culture supporters to just be perennial sooks, perennial complainers, perennial. They just do it all the time, year after year after year. This is the best sport in the world. This is the only sport in the world. It's like no one gives two shits about this sport
outside of our shores.
Well, but it's true. And I love the sport more than anyone, but don't act like you're something you're not. Because at the moment, you're a pub competition compared to some of the sports in the rest of the world.
And I think that's what irks me, that we don't adapt. Like, I would love to see, like, I agree with Danger. For me, the big thing with Danger is, he said he wanted to shorten the quarters. I'd say the best thing for the AFL to do would be to shorten. I'd love to see this. This is my idea to revolutionize the game. 18 rounds. Everyone plays each other once. Sorry, that's 17 rounds. Right, 17 rounds. Everyone plays each other once. You could build in 2 bye rounds in that. then they split up into the 8 and then do what we do in Scotland. We split our teams halfway through the season. We split them up because we've got a weird number of teams. And the bottom then play for position. So we could have the top 8 playing, but then the top 8 in a shootout effectively to cement the draft. But it works in a different way that we could have it as a capped competition. The bottom 2 play each other 4 times. And so the season still goes on for people. Because I think the worst thing about football is once finals comes, everyone stops watching their team. Where I'm thinking there's opportunity here where you could get revenue and make them play for something. It could be anything. So that is my thing. Ari makes a great point there, is it would go deep into the year. Heat may be an issue. But I agree with him. I reckon that is it. So I reckon the only way to do it is you could play, 34 games in a year, probably if you shorten the quarters to 16, which I don't like. I think there's something about the longer quarters make the game.
Yeah, I love the longer quarters.
The guesswork of the fixtures and just say 17, play each other one. So if Carlton play Richmond at home, next year you play, and make the higher team have the home game. So it's fairer. So there's the handicap the AFL wants.
And I think the heat factor, yeah, I mean it's a fair point, but just play at night. Majority of the AFL games played at night anyway, so.
And you expect my poor Poms to play cricket in your heat furnace of a country.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can do the quick maths if you want, but say start end of February, go all the way to September. I mean, you'd be able to fit the games in for sure.
Yeah, and just get rid of some of the Mickey Mouse sports that you guys enjoy. Like rugby league. Just get rid of that.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There we are. We'll move NRL to Queensland because let's be honest, it's such a bad game that the people that don't like football keep winning it in Victoria, and we don't even like rugby. Yes. So it obviously isn't a real sport. That's proven there. That I've never met a Victorian like rugby, but yet Victorians win it every year.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and look, I'll confess I'm not a NRL fan at all. In fact, I like to be a bit cheekier when people say, "Who do you follow in the NRL?" So anyone other than the Storm, because that creates conversation. So fuck the Storm, I hate them, and it's just who do you follow? And I'm like, Panthers or something. Just
make something up.
Yeah, of a bit of and because that creates conversation. Oh, you're not from Victoria? No, born and bred Victoria. How do you not like the Storm? Just don't like them.
You see, one thing I'll say about the rules, and I'll ask Ari this. My pop used to teach me this when I was a young golf pro teaching people. He gave me this great lesson and said, when you explain something, imagine you're explaining it to an alien, right? And he was like, it's a good method to do because sometimes when you break it down to the basics, you realize what you've said makes no fucking sense, right? Now, try explaining the draft, right? But then try explaining how the fixture's calculated, how weird rules, like how if you're out of contract but you haven't played for a club in a certain amount of years, you can't move without a trade. But if you do want to move and the trade can't be facilitated, you then have to go into a draft where you don't have any option to play for. The club that you may not want to play for pick you up. And then you try and explain that to a foreigner. So I've got a lot of English mates who are starting to get into footy and they love Carlton. One of them supported Essendon, though, just to wind me up because he supports Celtic and he's a dickhead. It's not his fault. But trying to explain it to them, and they're like, that makes no sense. So if I don't want to play for the club anymore, but I've only been there 4 years, I've got to hope you guys make a trade with another club who's your rival that benefits them, that benefits you to lose your best player. And you're like...
It's bizarre. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. As far as when you're, explaining to someone like that, you just described my job, mate. That's what I do for a living.
It's so crazy, though, isn't it? Explaining the rules.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like I said. If you weren't born and bred into it, it's a very confusing sport. But Well, like I said, we've bashed it a fair bit. I love it. I can't wait for the
It's
season
a
to
great
start.
sport, mate.
Yeah.
Best sport, like for me, best experience in the world behind the round ball.
Mm.
But
Oh, yeah.
I just don't get how archaic the rules are.
Yeah. Look, and I've always believed this with the AFL that because they're standalone, they don't have like FIFA or something like, so they can do whatever they want. They make whatever rule up they want. Every year they got new rule changes, and it affects no one but their league. That's what happens when you're the only league, the only sport or league in the world. You're bound to nothing. You just literally can do whatever you want. So I think that's one of the, people say it's a positive, but I actually think it's one of the weaknesses and one of the negatives for AFL, because they've literally, they've got no pushback from anyone. It's like, oh, if I want to change this rule, I'll change this rule. Who cares?
Mate, I'm with you. And I think the big thing as well is the AFL ownership. This is my big annoyance of all the 18 clubs. Now, I know people say it's fairness. We've got the draft. You can go out and buy things. I totally disagree, because I think when you actually speak to players, to people behind the club making the decisions, scouting networks, it's all condensed into the AFL. It's all condensed. There's no room for creativity. So if I wanted to, in the AFL, let's just say I was Carlton's innovation manager, and I'm like, right, Golden State Warriors, they haven't had a top 10 pick for like 20 years, but they've sustained a dynasty. I want to go over there and see how they manipulated the draft, right? How they manipulated the draft and how they did this and how they did that. I'd have to run that by the AFL. And you look at, say, Noble this year at North Melbourne stealing Hugh Greenwood. He confirmed they had to contact the AFL to see if that was okay for them to do, even though in the rules they could. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Let's bring back private ownership. And I think the AFL can retain the competition, but we need this innovation. This innovation. I think it actually sets the game back, because I think you may get a Premier League situation a bit more where fans are more involved. And that's what I'd love to see. A real innovative competition. I think Gold Coast is shit because of the AFL.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I agree. I couldn't, sometimes, when you've got certain rules in place and you're handcuffing clubs, what else can they do? Because basically, you look at Carlton as the example as well. Getting draft picks in there. If a rebuild fails, you just go again. You just go again and again and again and again, and it never ends until something happens. But where if you bought in private ownership or things like that, things would be fast tracked.
I'd love it, because I say this: if I was a rich entrepreneur, Gold Coast became a franchise. Why can't we be like the NBA? Private ownership, salary caps, though.
Yeah.
So I could still pay outside of the salary cap, but this is the problem you've got, and this is a big conversation I have. If you're shit, like Carlton have been, you're going to go and play for Richmond for 600k over coming to Carlton for 800 because of the salary cap. But if it's private ownership, I got Stephen Cornelio and say, you know what, 1.6 million. We'll pay you over the top of the salary cap. I can cover the fine, right? Don't worry about it. Come and play for us. There you are. And my question is, before the game starts, Cornelio confirmed the AFL got involved to keep him there. There is a problem.
Yeah. They're happy to get involved when it suits them or suits their own little agendas. Even like the compensation picks for free agency and stuff like that. All this stuff just, I don't know.
So Wolves, we kick off again. We've fixed the AFL, me and Fazz.
Yep, we've done
in a 15-minute break. One man down, beachy ass. Are we back in Wolverhampton? And good evening, gents. Well, we've got to back Wolves, haven't we? We want them to win.
Of course we do. And nine men, they'll obviously be trying to shut up shop a bit here. So Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's basically with the ref, it's 12 men, isn't it, versus them as well.
Yes, for sure.
I'm so glad I took Raul Jimenez out of my fantasy team. I'm a genius. He's on my bench. What a genius. Here's Joao Cancelo. Tell you what, though, I've got to say, that last 7 minutes, even though they had a man extra, it didn't. I thought City looked worse.
Well, they do say it sometimes can be harder to play against 10 men. I've never understood. I think that's only what people say when they're playing poorly, but yeah.
I don't believe it. it.
There's lots of things that I believe. In fact, there was one of the things on Twitter that was awesome to read is like, what are some of the myths in football? And it's brilliant. Some of the comments were brilliant. And I think for football, for soccer, one of the myths is that it's hard to play against 10 men. Like it's a myth. It's the other myth is being 2-0 up at halftime is the worst scoreline.
You see, I've never understood that.
Yeah, that's an Australian term.
No, I've heard though the commentators use it as well. Though like I like being 1-0 up at halftime is brilliant. 2-0 up, like it's home and hosed, really.
Yeah. It's what one in 50, maybe you might not win it, but like, yeah, it's bizarre. But I love doing those things, the myths, and I think it's all about like I meant culture. You know, just because you're successful doesn't mean you got a good culture or something.
I do think, right, you know, when you are down to 10 men, though, what you see is 10 men behind the ball, as Sterling's been everywhere but been woeful today. But I think because you throw 10 men behind the ball, you see why Mourinho was so good. It is so hard to break teams down.
It is.
When they're in your own half.
You actually have to rely on a bit of brilliance.
How many chances? Tell you what, City are it's like a conveyor belt of chances at the moment. Wouldn't you love to play in this City side?
Yeah. Oh, they're good. There's no other way to put it. They're just good. And I think, they should be able to win it again, I think.
I've got a question for Fazz and the audience, right? Do you think I actually think nowadays teams struggle against 10 men because of a possession game, where I think back in my day, because the game was more direct and quick, I think it was easier. I think now 10 men behind the ball is harder to break down.
Well, I think it was a similar scenario as I mentioned before, with City struggle if they go 1-0 down because of that possession. It's the same deal. You can't at professional level. It's very difficult to pass your way through 10 men. It's very so. At you need to go direct. You need to get the ball there quicker. So I think you're 100% spot on in that regard.
It's something I noticed, and it's when we go back to, like, you know, when we always complain, mine and Fazz's pet hate, people who can't cross anymore. It's skills like that you need to beat 10 men.
Yeah. Cross it in, low crosses, high crosses, whatever it is. See,
like you look at this now, City are just literally edge of the area with 10 men in the box.
Yeah. It's like I said, it'll take a world-class piece of play to break this team down.
Like they're relying on a 30-yard edge of the area goal now.
Yeah.
Like this is where you need Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
Just have him on the edge of the area and just be like, don't worry, Stevie, we'll just keep passing to you, mate. You'll get one.
Yeah, eventually. If you give him enough chances, you'll get one. 2000.
But the problem is players aren't good enough nowadays, I don't think. I think they are good enough. I just don't think they use that skill anymore.
No. But look at this. Look at the box.
Like, look at it. Have you ever seen so many players in the 6-yard box?
Have you ever seen a shit across than that?
Like, tell you what, beating the first man doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Like, I think if you're more direct, here's my tactical analysis. If you're more direct, right? They're going to get the ball a bit more. So 30, maybe 32%, which means that they're going to have to come out of their defensive positions to control the ball or do something, which then means when you get the ball back, you have pockets of space to hit. Like now, everyone is literally stood on the 6-yard box on both sides.
For every action, there's a reaction, and that's exactly right. If you, that's rubbish. If you, like I said, go more direct, they get more of the ball. They push out. You've got pockets of space. It's actually not rocket science.
Like there is nothing here. Like I just don't know. Like right now, City's game plan is keep the ball and hope that Wolves make a mistake.
Yep.
Like this is a concentration battle for a defender now. Can they concentrate for 40 minutes? But you see, this is where City, I think, come unstuck because they commit so many men to these, like, let's just pass it in triangles on the edge of the area for the next hour, that all it takes is someone like Traore to find the ball again and break away, and it's game over.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Also gives an advantage to the team with 10 men to draw a point because they can Mate, I'm with you. Like City at the moment are hoping something amazing happens.
And it opens himself up for a counter or whatever, and it's like that's fascinating.
Like this game could go on, like they could literally camp like this, and this game potentially could go on forever. Can you imagine if it was like baseball?
Yeah.
Like, look at that, 7% possession Wolves have had. Like they've got a chance here now because Wolves have had the ball a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, here we are, Sterling. Will he go down? He's gone down. You knew it was coming. He surely can't give a penalty for that.
No, he's got to be carded for that.
Like, you knew it was coming. I agree with Ari here as well. If they had a proper number 9, there's someone to play the ball into.
Yeah.
Look,
I agree.
Sterling was just waiting to go down. Look at him. He had no intention of getting this ball.
Loves it. He loves going down, but you could, as soon as he got the ball, he was down in a heartbeat.
They should add that to FIFA, I think, the dive function.
Yeah. Remember which FIFA did they take? They ended up so you could tackle the goalkeeper when he had the ball in his hand. You could still slide tackle the goalkeeper.
Yeah, instant red card. Yeah, I remember 2001. You could dive at L1, R1.
Yeah,
because as a player, I was a bit of a diver. I love taking a dive, and I heavily encourage diving. I'm a big fan of it. Big fan.
Yeah.
Evidently, you look like Jack Zeeble.
Look, I've been called worse. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but anyway, thank you.
Big hello, Marsh. Big hello to Marshy, legend, big fan of the channel. Tell you what, City here, they're going to have to do something. But I mean, I agree with Ari here. They are literally crossing it into CDMs.
Yeah, I think they need to bring on De Bruyne. He can unlock it.
I just can't believe City don't have a striker in their reserves.
Oh. That is one of the more fascinating situations in world sport. How the richest, well, second richest club in the world does not have a striker. Like
there must be an under-19s, under-21 striker knocking around their academy.
But not even. You've got squillions of dollars. Surely you could have just bought someone. I don't know. Like
they went in bold, didn't they? They went in bold and were like, we don't need one.
Yeah, well, they were in for Harry Kane. I remember that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot to do, but now, they've just taken off Gundogan, which is, and they've brought in Foden, so they've gone for more creativity in the middle of the park.
Yeah, it's a good change. Good change.
Liverpool fans in the chat. Big Greg Whittaker, good day to you, my friend. Fazz has called it. KDB is warming up in less clothes than he was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
West Ham are massive, says Big Andrew.
Yes, we are.
And
Ooh.
Marshall, good mate of mine, firing back to a good mate. Andy's a mate as well. Watford are bigger.
Yeah, look.
Big call.
It's a big call. I guess I'm not going to hang someone for an opinion, but yeah. Watford, I do like Watford. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. I'm not too sure why, actually, but I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them.
I would say that West Ham have proved they're a bigger club because Watford have only beat Man United. And I hate to say it, Chelsea are a better club than Man United at the moment. Thus, by default, West Ham beat Chelsea. Watford beat us, which at the time under Ole, I would say me and Fazz could string another 9 guys together and beat Ole too.
I reckon. But actually, no, I've got to make sure I'm doing this right. We won an FA Cup in 1980 something. Does that make us huge? Am I doing it right?
When was the last time Watford something? That was under the Elton John era. So we're going way back. Way back for them.
I love it.
Let's have a look here. Man United Tin Pot Club. Cheers, Marsh. And he backs it up with that garbage. Flag Pies 2020. Tell you what, if Collingwood win the flag next year, I will shave my head off naked on a live stream for banter.
Geez, I'm trying to think of the things I would do. If Collingwood won the flag next year, all right. Collingwood won't even win. They'll barely win a game, let alone win the flag. Let's be serious.
I mean, Carlton will finish above Collingwood. I'm that confident of that. That if Collingwood finish above Carlton, I'll get sub to swoop Luke tattooed on my ankle.
If Collingwood don't finish on the bottom, dead last, I'll delete Twitter.
That'll kill him.
Yeah, no, that's a lie. I couldn't do that.
That would kill him. Marshy's screen recording that. Tell you what, he will absolutely love Swoop Luke if that bet. Danny DT, good day to you, mate. Premier League, who you got? Well, we think City are going to win this, but we want Wolves to win.
Yeah.
For Bants. Tell you what, honestly, heading in today's game is absolutely woeful.
Oh, it's pants. It's absolute pants. Instead of practicing your rainbow flicks at training, practice your heading. Oh, here we go.
Hey, Andrew's brought it out.
Andrew, do you follow me on Twitter by any chance, Andrew? Get on there. I've already started a few of those.
But he's a Geelong boy, is Andrew. Yeah. He's a good Geelong fan, though, because he's not stupid and naive.
No.
He won't talk about Gary Ablett all the time.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess, stranger things have happened.
I'll tell you what, McQuaid's up the bat.
It's gone down again.
If Collingwood win the next flag next year, I'll buy a Collingwood membership. Tell you what, Sterling, honestly, he is like we mentioned earlier, Pom loves a dive. Sterling, though, doesn't even make it obvious. Like, he makes it obvious that it is a dive.
Yeah.
Danny DT, he's one of the few on Twitch. He says that City need to. We've just been talking about that, mate. They definitely do. We can't believe they don't have a reserve striker, though. That's what blags my head. There is no one there who can come in, even off the bench, 20 minutes from one of the under-19s.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
West Ham fan, and I'm a United fan, but
last week
I was a closet West Ham fan. We just get into it. Gaza for nothing. There, he's brought him up. More gear and Mayers. You do love a bit of Kyron. We've got another Liverpool fan in chat.
Yeah, nice.
There's a few of them in here now.
That's all right. That's all right. Always welcome. Always welcome.
Tell you what, City are making a meal of 10 men behind the ball.
They are. Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's worth it. Fazz, give your Twitter a shout out because it's the best Twitter ever as well for wind ups because he just winds people up.
So it's West_Ham_Fazz. So just West Ham Fazz with underscores. Just go West_Ham_Fazz. You'll be able to find me.
And it's just literally all he does is throw bait out for people. And unfortunately, no one's worked out that it is bait.
That's what I said. I say to him all the time, like, surely at some point people are going to work out that I'm just, I don't know. Anyway.
You know when people say it's obvious fish are dumb because if you throw a fish back into the same pond, you can catch them with the same bait. If that piece of science is true, humans are equally as dumb as well, based on Fazz's Twitter.
I might just make that my Twitter bio.
Because I'm pretty sure Fazz just catches the same selection of 8 people as well.
Yeah, I do. It's actually yeah. I remember getting in a real heated one. With a North Melbourne fan, like we're just going toe to toe. It was brilliant, and it was. And about 3 months later, the same account followed me and then started agreeing with some of the things I was saying. I'm like, do you not remember the chat we had 3 months ago? Like, what do you? Yeah, it was funny.
Mate, there is nothing better. Big Danny DDT. He used to visit Upton Park in the early 80s. Sketchy stuff back there in the 80s. Tell you, mate. The firms were rife in the 80s. Yeah. Fazz would have loved that before Twitter, just going to the pub and just glassing someone instead of tweeting them.
Glassing someone. Yeah.
Oh, is that a handball?
He's giving a penalty. He's giving it.
That to be fair, that was stupidity. And we did say it. The only way Wolves will lose this is by a moment of hot-headedness or stupidity. And Juan Mantinho right on time.
Let's have a look.
I can't believe he's even saying that that's a casual motion. If you watch this back, there's no need to do that though.
No.
Like that's not a normal moment. Who turns the body like this is my question.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
come out.
To be fair, that's what I was looking like last night at the Christmas party.
You see, my argument is this, and you're probably a better call because you were a defender. I was a striker, but my argument is there's no need to have your hand there because he's actually turned his hand in the direction of the ball.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's at. I agree. I actually think they might overturn it just where it's hit him. But why is his arm there? There's no need. There's no need for his arm to be there. But I think they'll overturn it. I think it looks like it's hit him. Maybe in the stomach or the ribs. I don't know.
I think there should be intent for handball. Like he was deliberately trying to block that with his hand, and I love the way that all footballers now cover their mouth up. Like
it reminds me of the was it Brendan Bolton? Who'd be like,
what do you reckon Grealish is saying? Grealish is saying, guess what? Having an affair on the missus got away with it.
Yeah. It's like, guess which one I'm taking out tonight.
Do you know what I mean? If you want to cheat and get away with it, wow, come and see me. Come and see me, bruv. Oh, good day to Luke. Luke, back in chat. That's not a pen. Good day to you, Luke. Big friend of the channel. Not a pen. I hope it's a pen for banter, really.
I think they've upheld it, yeah.
No, I'm happy. You see, I'm happy about that because there was no need to have your hand.
I don't know what his hand. I don't know his arm was doing there. What would make it even better is if Sterling missed it.
Can you? You know what? Would you if you were Pep? Would Sterling be your penalty taker?
No. No
Based on how he's played, I wouldn't let him. I mean, he'll probably slot this away. I'm going to predict the goalkeeper's left and a real dainty one. You knew it.
And he's
How did the keeper not know that? There was no way that was going with power.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crap. And it celebrates it too.
Look at him. You would have thought that Sterling had just scored an absolute worldie there, the way he went about it.
What a flog. Anyway, so we're 1-0.
That's game over now.
Yeah, it'd say so.
It
It's a shocking penalty, by the way.
You just knew he was going to do it. He looks the type, like, he literally looks the dinky penalty type, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He's just got it in him. Look at him celebrate.
Like you just knew that was going to go in, like a little dribble, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I don't know.
Good old VAR, always a talking point.
Always.
Maradona got away with one.
Yeah,
he did. I mean, we love a handball. We do love a handball. Danish saying Moss is a rubbish referee.
Yes, I was actually just about to say I'm trying to cut back on my swearing because it came to my attention during the week. I took my class to the ICT lab just for some free time because you know what, like it's the second last week of the term, and there they were watching the replay of the live watch from last week. As I'm just like West Ham this, West Ham that, and they're like, Mister, we found you, and I'm like, oh crap. So I think you might have got a few extra subscribers, and they're all the kids from my class. So anyway,
you know what?
Shout out to any of us if you're watching. Get to bed. You're up too late.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Listen to Mr. Fazz. Listen to Mr. Fazz. We've got an old friend has joined chat. Marshall's seen him. Marshall dropping some banter because obviously Perth lost the test. Good banter there, Marsh. I love that. Get stuck into the West Ham fans. And we've got Marshy. Scots has won. And Hat's got a... Tell you, do you watch the T20? Are you a T20 man, Faz?
Look, I'm a traditionalist. I prefer the Test cricket. But I do give it a go. I do give the 2020. I watch it. It's good for, like, you know, I don't get into it. I don't get passionate about it. Kind of like what I describe as going to your child's concert. Be like, yeah, it's good to watch, but do you really want to be there? That's what I describe 2020 cricket. But no, definitely Test cricket for me, for sure. But hey.
That's actually validated me because I say to my wife that the worst moment in my life every year is Christmas concerts. I don't get them. I don't get why we have to have them. What scares me is some of the teachers look like they're hating it as much as me, but some of them look like they're enjoying it, which really disturbs me as a human being.
Yeah, no, look, tis the seat. Oh. You see Grealish then.
100 million there from Jackie Grealish. He's put that into next week.
Tis the season, Pom. The Monday night we've got graduation, then we've got the Christmas concert, and then it's just, and as a teacher, I could think of 1,000 places I'd rather be than sit there watching the kids, who I'm over, by the way, sing Christmas carols that I don't care about. In front of their parents who have given me crap all year. So, like, I mean, yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And also my beautiful kids. I'm sure it's like Fazz's class. You're not really doing anything now, are you?
No, it's rubbish. My room's packed up.
Pissing about for 2 weeks.
I had the cricket on all day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So.
You know what I mean? Like, why are you there? Is my question.
Yeah, because the government says that finishing on this can't finish any earlier than the 17th of December, and so instead we just waste the last 2 weeks anyway. Like, yeah.
It honestly, because my kids are doing like they're bringing home like just rubbish now, like colouring in pictures of Santa Claus, and I'm like, Wow. Glad you've worked hard, kids.
Yeah. Oh no, this is the education system's flying. I reckon I think I've given them the same word fine 3 days in a row, and I said it's a different one, and they haven't worked it out yet. But
You should do a word find in these lives, Fazz.
yeah. Well, maybe that might be the work for Monday.
Do you know what I mean? We should have planned that. We could have done the
Yeah.
2-hour show that we do and just dropped words randomly.
Yeah, and then say, what minute did was this said, and yeah.
Yeah. What minute did Pom say this?
Yeah.
Sterling crosses the ball in. Oh,
Oh.
can you believe the audacity of Grealish to attempt a back heel?
Yeah, that was wankerish. Oh dear.
Tell you what, I've got Bernardo Silva in my beautiful fantasy team. So if you just want to slot one in as Wolves absolutely at 6s and 7s, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Why? You see, this is my question here. You just had a centre back go up for a header. He was karate kicked. Laporte is like 9'8". You know nothing for.
Yeah.
Greg Whittaker. They suspended my son for the last day of the year for punching a bully in the face. All right. They don't like violence at school anymore, do they? Even if you do retaliate.
No, look, I mean, I'm all for it, to be honest. I think there should be more of it. I've actually, on more than one occasion, suggested cage matches, a Hunger Games type scenario, whatever. There needs to be consequences.
The teachers at my son's school hate me because my methodology as a parent is if someone doesn't listen, sometimes violence is the only answer with a bully.
Yeah.
So I teach all my boys and my eldest daughter, sometimes you have to. I don't appreciate it, which is a lie, but I do tell them that I don't think you should. But sometimes you have to. But the consequences are obscene at school now. I actually think that's why bullying is worse, because it has been removed from schools. Because I was a bit of a bully at school till I was about 14, 15. Sometimes you do need a left hook.
Well, I think it's character building. And to be honest, the only reason teachers hate that methodology that you're saying is because of the paperwork. I can't be bothered filling out an incident report. So
I'm sorry to teachers then, but I mean, it is silly. Do you know what I mean? I can't stand bullies. And I think this whole mediation thing that you make, I hate going to mediation with other people's parents. I had to do that. Ella got bullied at school when she was like 8, 9. And me and Zoe had to waste time going to mediation with the other kids' parents and their kids. And I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah, you're not the one doing the bullying, are you? Getting on your socials and be like, hey.
Like I said to my wife, can't me and her dad just have a tear up in the park?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I mean, for me, the biggest thing I'm finding is the resilience is gone. I mean, I'm dealing with kids just like, can't you sort it out yourself? Like, you don't need me to come down there and say, hey, stop being mean to her or stop being mean to him. Like, sort it out yourself. Like, yeah.
Mate, tell you as well, you wouldn't have lasted 5 seconds like when I was at school. Like they have this thing. I don't know if you have it at primary school. Zane's has it. It's this thing for bullies called "Stop It, I Don't Like It."
Stop it, I don't like it. Stop it, I'm telling the teachers. Yeah. And
I'm like, if you put your hand up in my face, as a 6-year-old boy, I would have clocked you.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's just, I mean, my go-to line at the moment and look, I'll probably I hope my boss isn't watching, but my go-to line at the moment is, okay, no worries, I'll sort that out, and then never sort it out, and it just magically goes away. A kid will come up to me and give me this long-winded story. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries, mate, thanks. I'll sort that out, and then I've never heard of it from it again. So it got sorted out. So,
mate, honestly, I feel for teachers because your hands are tied. Greg's saying they call it reflection, so you have to spend lunchtime writing what you did wrong.
Yeah.
Like honestly, blags my head. Like blags my head. Like honestly, I can categorically tell you, I had a lot of detentions, and I got into a fair few fights when I was at school. Honestly, none of them did me any harm. Like legit, none of them did me any harm. Like, and honestly, I'm thankful for every detention and every fight I won or lost at school because it made me the human being I am today. Now I know that if there is a big guy in a pub with a tattoo saying "I love my mum" and he shaved his head off, maybe don't have banter with him because school taught me that.
But I think with that reflection thing that Greg said before, the people who are running these things, they don't give the kids any credit. They think kids are stupid. Kids are actually so smart. They know what to say. Like they'll do something wrong and they'll say like, "Yes, I know I did this, I did that. I'm sorry. I'll do better next time." Okay, cool. They know they know the lingo. They know what to say. Kids are so smart. Like, and we're like, "Oh, good, that was a really good restorative conversation." No, it's not, because they'll just do the same thing in 2 days' time and have the same meeting.
Mate, I'm with you. I'm with you. And honestly,
how did we get talking about this?
This is more important. We're fixing the world. Dynamic. A bit like me at school, because my best mate Nathan and me, we were that type of friendship that, you know, we'd sit next to each other in double maths and take the piss out of Harry in front of us. And then at lunchtime, he wanted to play forward and I wanted to play forward. So we'd have a tear up and then we'd be back sitting next to each other for double science after hitting each other for the last 20 minutes. It was just the way of the world.
Yeah, exactly right. Why don't kids can't they just fight and get over with? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
It is what it is.
Good times.
I already got punched for a kid making fun of your height. Mate, rate it. If you hit someone for... you see, I teach this, you'll love this, to my sons, right? So we've got a year difference between the boys. I say to my boys, right, that when one of them fights back, and I'm like, well, what did you say to him? And they'll be like David at the moment, right, takes the mick out of his brother because his brother's struggles a bit with his speech. So he's going to a speech therapist. So David obviously uses it as banter, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the big brother, he's an idiot, he's a clown. And Zane will fight back, and then I'll say, "What did you do?" And David will say, "Oh, I took the mick at how he said this." And I'm like, "You expect to happen?"
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? Like,
but it's the same thing what we were talking about before. When you post something on social media and then cry about it because you've been abused for it, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen when you just?
Yeah, you see, I say to David, he's like, "Oh, he's hit me in the face, though, Dad." And I'm like, "Well, what did you think he was going to do? Shake your hand and say, thank you
Cheers,
for bringing to my attention that sometimes I can't say words properly. Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate this."
Now, I've got the question for Ari. Now, I know this is probably just semantics here, but were you getting made fun of your height because you're really short or really tall?
I think it's tall. He looks a tall boy.
Yeah, I need to know that. I won't be able to sleep tonight unless I know that.
Yeah, the worst thing about being tall, right? And I'm not that tall compared to Australians, but I'm 6'2", so that's what, 187 if we're posh.
Yeah, 188, I think.
And I used to get it all the time when I was at school. Do you play basketball? You used to wind me up because honestly, no one in England plays basketball. Not one person, right, has ever played basketball ever. Don't even know what it is.
Love it. No, yes. Well, I'm the exact same, Pom. 6'2", 188.
Really, midget. Yeah. Ari on TV, on YouTube. You look about 9'8", bro.
70.
Who knew? Well, 10 minutes left of this game, and because we've been talking rubbish, it tells you the quality.
Yeah. Apologies to anyone who was expecting some real in-depth analysis about the garbage we've looked at, but
basically, this is the last 20 minutes since the goal. City pass, blocked off, cleared, corner, cleared, pass, repeat.
Penalty.
Like literally, that is City's game plan.
It's rubbish. But no, yes, I did put the bins out tonight, and there was better quality than this. So
Good work. I've got to say, I played a couple of games of FIFA, and they were a lot better than this. There was a quality 3-1 where I scored 2 goals in the last 3 minutes when it was 1-1.
yeah, well, that's always love a late goal. Always love it.
And guess what? Because it was the 90th minute that I scored the third, I over celebrated just to let him know. Yeah, show of male dominance. Let him know I was going live, and he had just lost. Sometimes just gotta let people know.
I think Andrew might have just followed me on Twitter. I look forward to burying Geelong all season. Be great.
Yeah, give him it back, Andy. My best advice to you is honestly, don't let him push you around. Just fire back. He's got no feelings. He'll be totally fine.
Do you know what I find fascinating is that they think they deserve to play at GMHB ABCDF Stadium. I mean, what's with that? Fill a stadium, then we can talk.
You know, one of the things is I've gone to Geelong, and I really like the Geelong Stadium. I've got to say,
oh, it's a beautiful stadium.
Like I've got to say, I'm a big fan. My question is though, it is like an away game, isn't it?
Oh, mate, you may as well be travelling to bloody Guantanamo Bay.
It is miles away.
You get stuck on that freeway, mate. At peak hour traffic. You may as well fly to bloody Brisbane. Seriously,
it is like literally in the middle of nowhere. It is like I didn't think when I first moved over here, I was going to be a Geelong supporter, right? And my boss at the time was a massive cat fan. And we worked on Exhibition Street at the time. And he was like, oh, after work, we'll go and catch the game, but we're going to have to leave early. And me being English, thinking like Australia is like the size of a postage stamp. And I was like, where's Geelong? And he's like, oh, it's in Melbourne. It's just like, just a bit north of here. Like, It was like literally fucking miles away. Like when he said we're going to have to leave work at 3 to get there at 6, I'm like, it's in Melbourne though, bro.
Well, where you going? Yeah, that is. But I guess it seems like Daniel Sturridge had the same thought process, not understanding how big Australia is when he's landed in Perth and said, no, I can't fly to Melbourne. It's too far.
To be fair, he is a pom. So like to us, like I could set off when I used to work in York and get to an evening game and finish work at a normal time, I'll be back in Scotland watching a game. Like, let that sink in. Different country.
Yeah, it's living the dream.
I remember on a night out, me and Six played at Hamburg, right?
Yeah.
And it was like on a Tuesday. So they were a band. And I had the day off, and me and my mate were day drinking. It's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We were talking about, they're coming to the UK next week. Oh, they're playing in Germany. We went on eBay, found tickets. We got tickets to Hamburg. And by about 6 o'clock in the evening, we were in Hamburg having a beer, going to see the band a week earlier than our mates because we were bored. And it's like Australia, you get to Perth in that time. You'd still be in the same country.
And there's the thing. So I live in a country-ish town north of Melbourne, and so in order for me to organise doing stuff, mate, it's a bloody expedition. Even the Christmas party last night, man, oh man, it was like an hour and a half drive. Oh, not that I was driving, but it was an hour and a half drive, and I was laying in the back seat of one of my colleagues' car. It was, you're just far away from everything.
This is my question, right? So we were at the work Christmas party. Why? And no one in Australia can answer me this. Why are your pubs so fucking far apart?
Don't know. Never really thought about it.
Like in Pommyland, like I remember I used to live in Bempton, right, which is a village of like 220 people. It's tiny. Everyone knows everyone, right? And there is no joke, 5 pubs. And it's about as big as it would be like a tenth of the size of Pakenham.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
2 streets long.
I've never really thought of it, but all I know is last night. So the Christmas party we went to, right now, me and Mitch, as you know, like all day, I rock up to work at 8, 7:30, 8 o'clock yesterday. I'm like, we're on the beers tonight. We cannot wait. Like, hit 3:10. Kids dismissed the kids from the car park. Like we are on our way. Picked up. We're just sinking beers. We had about, I don't know, 7 or 8 each before we even got to where we were going. And we rock up to this place already half cut. And I walk in, mate, it is the poshest place ever. And this is we're just a bunch of teachers who want to get canned, right? This poshest, and I walk up and I'm like, oh, Palmer and chips. And they're like, oh, no, we don't do that here. I'm like, I'm sorry. It was like golden beetroot salad or whatever, some rubbish. And I'm like, I said to Mitch, I said, mate, we're in trouble here. That's when I knew we were in trouble. So when I talk about a pub, is like, Christmas parties, why are we going to these posh fancy places? Can't we just go to a pub, get a bowl of chips and just drink till our lives are over?
I've got to say, Australian Christmas parties, you guys go really posh. It's like kind of like a get together. Like I was explaining it to the girls at work of what a UK one is, and I was like, well, basically, you nominate someone to arrange the Christmas party. And I was like, usually it's the loosest guy you've got or girl with the biggest brain.
And the shadiest background.
I was like, you're kind of offsetting a little bit. But I was like, usually it's like you'll split the money. And I was like, usually everyone dates a DJ or has a DJ who's a mate. I was like, you commandeer one of the floors of the office or one of the buildings and you drink there and then you hit the club at your own expense. So I was like, you maximize the budget on maybe loads of tins, loads of cans. Everyone finishes work at 5, quick shower, come back to work, drink there all the day, and then you'll reserve like £200 for a taxi into town.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is what happened last night. Like, I didn't want a sit-down meal. I talk to these people every day. I don't want a sit-down meal. I want to absolutely get murdered here. Like, so Mitch and I just took matters into our own hands, and yeah, happy days.
Yeah, you see, me and my mates left the Christmas party fairly early. As Foden, oh, good save. Best pub scene ever. Only Fools and Horses. Del Boy falling through the bar. Now we're talking a bit of Only Fools and Horses. That is iconic, that scene. Dynamic Hypnotic. Buy cryptocurrency. It's going to go to the moon after Christmas.
I wouldn't confess to know much about it.
Mate, country towns are the best.
Country, yes.
Your Uncle Pom used to live in some... You see, I don't like people. This is a big surprise to people. I don't like being around people. I'm a real people person, but I like to come home to nobody.
Yeah, look, I like to live by the rule of if it's 30 Ks away, it takes 30 minutes to get there. I like that rule, not this. Oh, the shopping center's 5 Ks away, but it's going to take us 45 minutes because of traffic. No. I'm very much if the roads around me aren't all 100, then it's not somewhere I want to live.
You see, I like living in the middle of nowhere, but I'm very sociable. But like when I come home, I like to debrief and no one sees me.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like I think in a zombie holocaust, I'd be brilliant because I could live with people, but if I was a loner, I'd be fine too.
Yeah, you're just happy either way. Sometimes you just need to be left alone. For example, this morning, I would have loved nothing more than to be left alone.
That's because you were hungover.
Yeah, exactly.
How the kids as well? Weird point about being hungover. I don't do it very often. I'm sure you don't, being a dad too.
Yeah.
Why are your kids, no matter how old they are, recess back to needy, clingy babies when you're hungover?
They just know. They sense it. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Like my kids can take or leave me, right, when I'm at home. Like they could not speak to me all day if they wanted to. But for some reason, when I'm hungover, my kids literally suddenly, daddy is the comfort blanket. Like, what's wrong with you guys?
Nah, It's true. It's true. Like my daughter, she never gets up any earlier than about 7:30, 8 o'clock. But of course, this morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Like, why? Why are you up right now? "Oh, I couldn't sleep." I'm like, you're kidding. Like, yeah. No. It's just they just sense it, I tell you.
Mate, honestly, kids, and I mean, we've got 3 minutes of this game. Foden's had 2 chances. I think the best highlight for me in this last minute, while we've been talking nonsense, was Raheem Sterling have a shot at the edge of the area with the weakest kick I've ever seen. Oh!
Could
we
you
nearly had a
imagine
West
that?
Ham moment.
Wolves.
Imagine.
It's a good header too.
Tell you what, Kilman and Edison, he hasn't done anything all game and called into it. Tell you what, that's a mark of a good keeper. He has had the night off. 2 minutes to go, and he's had something to do.
Yeah, no, there was some good bit of play from the Wolves, and mate, if they can snag one here,
imagine the scenes.
Oh, I've been pretty impressed with the Wolves, to be honest. I think they've done all right.
To be fair, 10 men, no striker because he got sent off. A whole half, really. 1 man down.
They'll talk about
Probably
the penalty.
Because beside the penalty, City didn't look like scoring, did they, really?
No.
Got to say, this game's a massive come down from last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can't get lucky all the time, unfortunately.
I think the last time we did a City game, it was boring as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But next week's a good one.
We might have to knock Man City off our rotation.
Yeah.
Like the AFL. I might have to send him a message. Like, sorry, Pat, you're no longer in our rotation.
Yeah, you're out. No, but yeah, next week should be a good one. I think it's
Brighton United.
Yeah, Brighton United.
Be a goal fest. Ralph will show you some attack. 6-0.
Very excited for that. Very excited.
Ronaldo 5 goals. Our big Tim Wilkes.
Ah, my man. He's one of my Twitter chums.
Nah, Tim's spot on here. City and no West Ham.
Definitely not.
I've got to say, and I watch City a lot, right? City have the ability to hit the score 4-0, but when City play like this, can you imagine spending £70 on a ticket?
They're putrid.
Like, they've just had the ball. Like even KDB can't even get, like, Foden was on his own.
Yeah, they're just, when they're like this, they're putrid. But, again, they'll be up there. They'll probably still win the whole bloody thing.
It's effective as the final whistle goes. It's effective. I mean, the old saying, would you rather win the league 1-0 38 times or finish 12th but score 8 goals?
You want to win the league.
But
you want to win the league.
Honestly, honestly, I that last 20 minutes, if Fazz wasn't here, I would have probably rang my mother-in-law. It was that bad.
Yeah. Look, I have seen a few comments being when I apologize that we're not talking about the game, and people were so kind. They're like, "Oh no, we're actually here for, enjoying the bet. Actually here for us." So that's really warming. But if you're here to listen to me on a Saturday night, you really need to check your life because. Nah, all good. No, I love it.
We should have a Pomidor's Christmas party and just do a Saturday of us drinking the beers.
Oh, man. You don't need to tell me twice.
And putting the world to rights. We'll just fix the road in a 2-hour sprint.
Yeah. All right, count me in. But no, look, I love it as always. Brilliant. And
it was good. It was good fun. But I mean, honestly, Man City. Let's hope I hope they don't win the league.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I hate to. This makes me want to kill myself. Really, Liverpool, at least they play an exciting brand.
Oh, yeah, that's blasphemy, but you're right. You're right. They're good to watch.
Like City looked happy with 1-0.
Mm.
And it's 10 men.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there it is. Not more to say. Me and Fazz will be back next week when a proper team plays Brighton.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's more entertainment there, but it'd be good to see a bit of United action with their new manager. It'd be fantastic.
Well, we'll look forward to it. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. We had our highest attendance. We're up to 28 at that stream. So that's huge. So obviously everyone enjoyed it. Maybe we should talk about rubbish more often. But thank you very much, everyone.
No worries.
We'll see you next week.
See yous.